Hey there and welcome to this video where I'll be showing you all about our newest plugin, our multiband wave shaper Piranha. Piranha is designed to get you everything from peak taming and mastering to creative, extreme and gritty sound design madness, all with precise control over your sound. So aside from the basics, we're going to check out 3 core features inside Piranha that make it stand out from the crowd. Multiband processing, asymmetric wave shaping, and the power of its bias control. So let's jump right into it. At first, let's take a quick look at the interface. On top, in the middle, we have the dynamic spectrum analyzer that can be split into 3 separate bands. We'll get to the specifics of that later. You can toggle the analyzer to analyze the incoming signal, the outgoing signal, or you can disable it. And you can choose the speed of the analyzer to display the chosen signal in a slow, medium, or fast manner. We have our core processing controls in the center to shape your bands how you like it best. We'll also get to that later. Then a frequency range slider here in the lower middle to adjust where you want the processing to happen. You can also adjust this by doing it in the spectrum analyzer. On the left side of the frequency slider, we have these low and high emphasis EQ to boost or cut certain frequencies of choice like this. And on the right side, we have the normal low and high EQ to apply on the processed wet signal. And of course, our signature utility footer at the bottom, where you can adjust the left-right to mid-side processing. You can oversample up to 8 times. You can mess around with the overall mix. Go phase flipping. We have here a diff button that's also known as delta to toggle only listening to the process signal. An overall bypass and left or right only bypass. Let's zoom in on the analyzer. I put Piranha on my drum bus here, and my analyzer type is on post, so we can check out the waveform on the wet signal. Right now only 1 band is activated, but we can go up to 3 bands, like this. This way we can display each band with their own color and processing controls. So now that we have Piranha running on 3 bands, we can see these separate activated processing controls that influence the signal. So this is where everything that is interesting really happens. Each field has their own controls. On the left side, we have the threshold sliders to control the upper and lower halves of the waveform. They are linked by default, but you can also unlink them to only process the lower half or the upper half. You can adjust the gain per band, phase flip, and on the separate footer of each band, you can adjust the mix, solo, mute, bypass, and toggle the diff. By clicking on the transfer curve here in the middle, we unlock the curve library, where we can choose from lots of processing effects and options. Let's go for a hard clip on this band, and then we mute the other bands, so we can check out what our curve of choice is doing when we're going to mess with the threshold. We can adjust the frequency to where we want the magic to happen. And then we can pick another curve for the middle. Let's just go with a bit crusher. And we adjust the curves. The most fun thing about messing around with the transfer curves is definitely that you can go totally crazy by unlinking the threshold slider, so you can choose a different transfer curve for the upper and lower half of the waveform. So let's isolate the middle part here by muting the others. After unlinking, you see you allow the transfer curve viewer to split itself, allowing us to choose a different curve for each half. So let's leave the upper half on the bit crusher and put the lower half on a sine fold. Now we can push those threshold sliders around to see what happens with our signal of choice. But the fun part is we can also adjust the bias. So we can control exactly where the lower half will jump into the upper half. Using the bias controls, you push the signal more aggressively into the top or bottom half of the transfer curve, causing a DC offset, which can cause issues like noticeable distortion, and we don't want that, so we have this DC button here to keep the signal clean. The DC post button applies a DC filter automatically at the end of the chain inside Piranha, and the DC per band option applies the filter independently after the output of each frequency band. So for this example, I'll put the DC button on per band and you can immediately hear some good things happening. Now that we know about asymmetrical wave shaping and bias, let's grab a different sound and check out all the options. So I realize this is just a very basic showcase and there is so much more that Piranha offers with all these different curves and options and controls, and hopefully this video gives you a good impression of the basics on how to use Piranha and what makes it stand out as a multiband wave shaping tool. If you have any questions about using Piranha or have suggestions for us, feel free to leave a comment down below.